Coming to you from the My Michigan TV studios,
We're going to kick you in the teeth.
it's the Roar Live.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
With hosts, Michigan High School Hall of Fame head coach, Tony Blankenship.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
The Outsider, Scotty William, and Corey Tiez.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV. We are the new pre- and post-game show for the Detroit Lions that you can view right here on My Michigan TV. I'm Scotty William. I got Corey Tiez next to me, and of course, this man right here, the Michigan High School Hall of Fame head coach, Tony Blankenship. Guys, 24-23 was a little better of a game week 2 here in preseason than the first week. What are your thoughts on that?
Much better football game.
Yeah.
Much more entertaining to watch. It was enjoyable. It was entertaining. Got a chance to see some young guys flying around, making some plays. Got a chance to see some guys who trying to make the team, and you can tell the sense of urgency is there. It's getting close to the cut time,
Right.
and it's getting close to guys being able to make that squad, and you can tell, you can see that there is a huge sense of trying to play football the way it should be played, as opposed to last week.
Yeah.
Well, we want to hear from you on your screen, the Roar Live Zoom. You can check out that QR code with your phone, and you can get in on the conversation with us tonight right here on My Michigan TV. Guys, who are your biggest playmakers this week? I think Vaki is for me. Who else do you guys got?
Corey?
Vaki, the kid Isaiah, Hooker looked cleaner.
Yeah.
He looked better. Last week I was saying I didn't know if he fit with the Lions system. I may have to take that back. He looked really good today. I was impressed with the Lions as a group. They tackled cleaner. They still had the issues on the kickoffs, the returns.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm going to give this a B+ today. But I like Williams. I think, this is just me, I think this kid is going to be a premier player. I think he's going to get a lot of targets. I think he's going to make it difficult for that third receiver spot. He played well last week, and he played good this week. So I'm looking forward to see, him continue onto that, because I think they need another receiver.
I agree. I think for me, it's Jake Bates again, 4 for 4. He's kind of solidified his position there as the kicker. He looked pretty good, other than the missed extra point.
I was about to say, he missed extra point.
But hey, 4 for 4. I mean, come on, that looks pretty good.
You've been a fan, though.
Right.
Scott,
Yeah, Scott's been rooting for him since.
Scott's been watching the UFL.
Yeah.
You guys, so everybody knows he's been watching the UFL.
I've been watching the UFL.
Yeah. He's a UFL guy.
You've always liked it.
Yeah, you gotta like it. You gotta like it. A nice homegrown story here, so to speak.
Look, it's offense, it's defense, it's special teams. It's a huge part of the game. It matters. And Bates is going to have to be efficient. He's going to have to be a solid component to them being successful. And if he's not, they will struggle. They will have a hard time getting back to or going further than they were able to go last season. I'm like Corey, Isaiah, Williams is a special talent. He is not going to be able to be ignored. They have a solid core receiving group. St. Brown, of course, and young man from Alabama. But Williams he's gonna make a name for himself. He's gonna have an opportunity to play, and he's proven that. He was the guy for me today that I saw that was, it was obvious that he's gonna play on Sundays. Yeah. He's undrafted out of Illinois, and he's gonna be a steal for the Lions.
Great. Yeah. Well, listen, everybody, we want to thank you for joining us here right on your My Michigan TV. I am Scotty William, Corey Tiez, and, of course, Michigan High School Hall of Fame head coach Tony Blankenship. Some other things we're going to be talking about later in the show, and we definitely want to hear from you right here on the Roar Live Zoom chat. And but we have a special guest on Zoom right now. He is former Green Bay Packer nose tackle and Super Bowl champion Gilbert Brown. Gilbert, how are you?
First of all, I want to say thank you for letting me on Meow Live. Thank you.
That's funny.
Meow. I take it you're not a Detroit Lions fan, but that's hey, you're a Packer.
Oh,
You're
absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, I'm sorry.
Big
Gil-
deal.
Gilbert, do you feel like the Packers are going to be the team, so to speak, that will give Detroit a run for the money in the North?
I believe. I mean, all joking aside, man, we always own the North. I'm gonna just go on and tell it like it is. We always own the North, and Detroit is one of those teams, man, which is surprising to me because you rarely saw a Detroit Lion jersey anywhere last couple years, you know. Then all of a sudden, I saw a dude walking around with Detroit Lion Crocs. I said, "Oh my God, oh my God, they're taking over."
Yeah.
Oh my God, but they're a good team, man. You can't take nothing away from them.
Well, looking at the Green Bay Packers, you got to like what they've done in the offseason, bringing in Josh Jacobs, the running back. How else do you think Jordan Love will take a couple steps, become a couple steps better than what he was last year? How do you feel? How do you feel about Jordan Love?
We got some great receivers, man. We got some great young receivers. I was a little scared of letting Aaron Jones go, but once you start looking at Josh Jacobs' game, you know, you starting to understand why the move was made. But then it all boils down to the love train. You gotta get on the love train. Choo choo, love train. You gotta get on it, baby. And he was fighting it with the what's that boy name? Rogers leaving,
Yeah.
but you can see the progression. And I try to tell everybody, oh, Jordan Love, you know, first couple games, oh, he's trash, he's this. And it ain't about him. It was about the offensive line.
Right.
The offensive line was still blocking for Aaron Rodgers. You know, the offensive line should be able to reach his hand back there and know where he is at all times.
Okay.
Offensive line start picking that up mid-season. Then you start seeing that game gelling and really going together. It's kind of like the first game when we played y'all. I knew Thanksgiving we was going to beat y'all. I knew. I just knew it just because of how the game was going. And once you saw all that progression take fact, then we knew what kind of team we had. And I was hoping for the NFC Championship game would have been the Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions in a rubber.
That would have been good. It would have been good. You are watching the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV, and our special guest, Gilbert Brown, the gravedigger himself, former Green Bay Packer and Super Bowl champion, Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
And Gilbert, we appreciate you coming on the show tonight. Do you feel
thank
like
Tony. Y'all thank Tony.
Oh, I'm gonna thank Tony.
Yeah.
If I
Every
didn't
day.
if I didn't love Tony, I would have deleted the call.
I appreciate you, brother.
Super Bowl champ. Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you feel like the Packers will be the team to beat in the North? Do you think they're going to be the team to beat in the North?
I'm gonna go and put it out there. We're gonna beat y'all twice and go to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
That's how much confidence I have in this team. You want to know something? I went over there like it was probably about like a month and a half ago, and they had like a mini camp or whatever it is. You know, guys show up when they want to. You know, it's not mandatory. Everybody was there, from Jordan Love all the way down, getting that work in. Yeah, you tell me a team that ain't hungry. Tell me a team that ain't trying to put them young receivers right to get a team together. Everybody was there, full attendance. So I was like, man, these boys gonna do something.
Yeah.
Who do you think will come out of the AFC? Who's your prediction to take on the Packers?
Oh my God. Oh, that's tough, man, because Kansas City still looks good. I love Andy Reid. He was a coach when he was in Green Bay when I was there. Oh man, Baltimore. That's gonna be tough, man, because all them boys over there got better. You know, in our side, I mean, I don't like Minnesota without a. I mean, grown men should never wear purple. You understand what I'm saying? And it looked like 11 little Barneys running around out there. But, but I feel bad for them because they just lost by 3 or 4 great players, man. So they got to go back to the drawing board. So I just circled them for 2 wins, and then it's gonna be us, Detroit and Chicago. So, Chicago. I mean, Caleb, he looks okay too. So it's gonna be interesting in our division.
Yeah. I agree.
You guys have any questions for Cat?
I got one question for you, Gil. Let's go back to Love. So you mentioned Rogers Love. So when does the locker room, you guys are in the locker room,
Yeah.
does that sway like the head coach when you guys rally around, this quarterback? Does that kind of put a bug in the coach when Love he takes over the locker room? How do you guys, people say, well, he backs this one quarterback. He's behind this one quarterback. Does that kind of sway? Does a coach like that when the locker room sides with the one guy? How does that go? How does that work out?
Yeah, I think the coach is one of the big heartbeats of the team. You know what I'm saying? So he looks at that, but you got to understand something with Jordan Love. When he first took over, the front office was saying, "Oh, he still got to play at least 8 games before we really get behind him." Which was shocking to me because they were still trying to get over that dark room Aaron Rodgers going dude. But he ain't whooping me, so I don't care. It's like the team gradually had to see him progress. He had to win their confidence. That's what he had to do. He had to win and it was real tough for him because he had to win the team's confidence. Yeah. He had to win the fans' confidence, and he black. Yeah. There has never been a starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers that's black.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So he had all that fighting against him. That's why I love that boy, because he had all that on his shoulders, and he finally pulled it out, man.
Yeah.
Yep. We have another guest on the line from East Vale, California. Joey is on the Zoom here on the Roar Live. Joey, where are you, my friend? I know he's up here coming up on the screen soon. You are watching My Michigan TV, and of course, this is the Roar Live. I am Scotty William. We have Corey Tiez, and of course, Tony Blankenship. We want you to call in. I know Gilbert Brown probably incited a lot of Lion fans to call in because I'm sure you have differential opinions on who's going to win. Yeah. Oh, there he is. Oh. Joey from Eastvale, California. If that's not a Lion fan, I don't know what, Joe. What do you think, Co?
Wow. That's all serious. Oh,
that is a serious change, Joe. Yeah, and you're from California.
Wow, yeah.
That's
like a freshman with all the paraphernalia.
Where are you from, Joe?
I'm from Flint, Michigan, Scott.
Okay, Flint, Michigan.
Born and raised. Flint, Michigan. Michigan State alumni right here.
Oh. So did Gilbert Brown infuriate you a little bit with his comments? I thought so. I thought that was going to get somebody to call in. So what are your feelings on the Detroit Lions this year?
Scott, I'm excited to see what's going to happen with the Lions this year. I think as in every NFL season, ultimately they got a great core team, and it's going to come down to who's on the field at the end of the year. Injuries always play a key role in a NFL's team success or failure. And bottom line is they got a lot of positive things going on in their locker room, and I think they have a good chance to make it to the Super Bowl if they can stay healthy throughout the year.
Joe, did you watch the game tonight? Could you get it in Eastvale, California?
Absolutely, Scott. We could get it. We had a nice feed today, so I hate watching preseason football, but
Anybody stand out to you, Joe?
I thought Hendon Hooker looked okay. Sudfeld looked okay at quarterback. I think Hooker made a mistake at the end of the game by trying to make that handoff. I think he should have known that that was a broken play with the bad snap, and should not have tried to make that handoff and looked at it as a broken play and rolled out and maybe tried to gain a couple yards or do something, make a play out of that. But aside from that, nothing really stands out. The defensive backfield still looks shaky, when you play, the second teamers. But it's preseason football. I never expect to see great football watching preseason.
Agreed.
Well, Joe, thanks for coming on the air with us tonight. We really appreciate it. We like to see all Detroit Lion fans, whether you're from California, Florida, Alabama, New York, wherever you're from. As you know, we've been talking to Gilbert Brown, the gravedigger himself from the Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl champion. And he has incited some these Detroit Lion fans with his comments about the Packers and his prediction of the Packers going to the Super Bowl. Gilbert, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. And we always would love a Packer insider if you're interested to come back on. I know you're doing it for Tony, and we appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm glad the host dude on there muted that dude, because I showed him when he had nothing he had to say. I'm sure it was educational for the Lions fans. Educational.
Well, Gilbert, I do have one thing to say before you go. You guys cheated us. Daz caught the ball in the end zone. Tony Romo, that Dallas team.
Did we cheat y'all when we held Barry Sanders to negative yards?
Well, I didn't know. I'm talking about Dallas. I'm not a Lions fan.
Did we cheat y'all when y'all never beat us when I played in Lambeau Field? No. Anything else? Y'all have no legs to stand on. Meow.
Hey, I agree with you. I agree. I'm just saying. I'm talking about my Cowboys.
Hey,
that was a catch.
Hey, Gil, tell them the story about what Barry did after that game, though.
Oh, no,
we
ain't gonna talk about that. Hey, but why are we talking about the Cowboys, man?
I'm just saying, that was the real rivalry. It was no Lion-Green Bay rival, because you guys owned it.
You're right.
The real rivalry was Dallas-Green Bay, and we got cheated. Daz caught the ball, but that's another story for another day.
Man, you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you this. I never was a Detroit Lion fan.
Okay.
But I was a fan of some of the players you guys had. Like Glover and Lomas and Berry and those guys, because they was real upstanding guys. And I always tell everybody I wore number 93 because of Jerry Ball. I used to love his game. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm born bred Detroit guy. I mean, I'm not a Lions fan at all, but I do respect the Detroit Lions. I really do.
Absolutely. Good deal.
Gilbert, thanks so much for coming on with us tonight. We hope to talk to you again maybe later on the season when Detroit plays Green Bay. So you're always welcome to come back on.
Call me back. I got some ammunition for y'all, boys. Call me back, man.
Thanks. Thanks, Gilbert. We appreciate you coming on, buddy.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, take care, man.
Thanks, bro. All right, guys.
Thanks, man. Thank you, bro.
All right, thanks.
Tony, you are watching the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV. And, of course, now I want to hear Tony's takeaways here for preseason week 2. What do you got, Tony?
You know what? To kind of break things down and make it as simplistic as possible.
Okay.
From what I saw today, obviously we spoke about a little bit earlier, it's better looking football. A little bit what Joey mentioned earlier, preseason exhibition games aren't always a lot of fun to watch. But I did see some things component-wise that I felt were important, that was exciting. Look, Patrick Mahomes looked amazing. Yeah. He is the best player in the NFL, in my opinion. And I felt like he had something to show. They lost to the Lions last year, the first game of the season. And we do know this game does not matter. It does not go in the record books. But athletes are athletes, and competitors do compete. It matters to them that the fact that they lost last year. So I just felt like, you know, Patrick wanted to go out and show some things early, and he was able to do so. I felt like the Lions weren't as in tune as Kansas City was early in the game, and it showed in the score. Those ones that were out there, those starters that are out there for Kansas City's offense, going against some of the Lions guys, it was you know, apparent to me that they were going to send a message to the NFL that we're still here. We were talking during our production meeting earlier, and Corey made a great point on how Kansas City carries themselves with a different aura. They're wired different. They're not like everybody else. They're two-time Super Bowl champs, and they carry themselves with something different. I can't remember the exact words Corey used right now, but I'm sure he'll remind me. But going into the rest of the game and getting a chance to break the game down, Hendon Hooker looked a lot better. Right. Stubblefield, the quarterback. Sutfield, sorry. Yes. Sutfield played solid today. Yes, he did. Much better numbers. Did have a pick, but did throw a touchdown as well. Looked like a better football player. Looked like he belonged on the football field today. And that's good. Again, we talked about Isaiah Williams. I think that guy's going to be a good football player for him. They had some things that look good today. I am still concerned with the secondary. They got a young group, and they're going to have some guys who are going to have to step up and play and be efficient. One thing we know about football is the war of attrition. Injuries are going to happen. It's a factor. It matters. And the Lions need to be prepared to have depth and have guys who played today be able to step in if somebody gets hurt.
Do you think that's why we haven't seen the starters play for the Lions, that they might be just a little thin depth-wise? Like, especially after Jared Goff, it's a big drop-off. And then, you know, Jahmyr Gibbs, of course, he really wasn't going to play, having the hamstring injury. Of course, Dan Campbell said he was going to be fine. But hamstring injuries can seem to pop up, and, you know, it could be something that would really hurt them all season long if he can't keep that hamstring healthy, so to speak. I know you got David Montgomery. Vaki looked good. You know, he's a guy that probably could come in there and do the same kind of thing as my guy Gibbs.
For Gibbs, yeah.
Yep. Today, if you looked at it, Vaki ended up return kicks. He was also looking in here. He had 59 yards through the air, and he rushed for 22 yards. So he had some pretty good all-purpose yards, kind of in the line of Gibbs.
Yes.
So the depth. Where do you feel like the biggest weakness depth-wise for Detroit is when you look at in preseason game 2?
I still think it's at the quarterback position.
Okay.
I still have to, speak on that. The guys did look better today, and it's the second game. It's obvious they've had a lot of reps in preparation for this game, as opposed to them playing their first game last week. They've had more time to prepare, and they played better. But if something was to happen to Jared Goff, is anybody confident that either one of those gentlemen today that played could come in and continue the ball rolling? Can they still be NFC champs? Can they still contend and position themselves to get to the Super Bowl with either one of these young men playing quarterback if something was to happen? I don't think so. And that's an issue for me. At the end of the day, I still believe they got to bring in a veteran guy. I don't believe that either one should be their backup. Even though they showed some good things today, I am not sold on that. I am not sold on the fact that you got two guys who've never played in big games in their lives in the NFL. And having never done that, never been in a situation to do that, and to have to do it now with this kind of a team when the window is now for the Lions. There is no future. There's no next year. It's hard. NFL is tough. and it's year to year, and it's game to game. So they need to make sure they position themselves by bringing in a veteran guy. We talked about, again, during the meeting earlier, there are some veteran quarterbacks out there. There are some guys who, Ryan Tannehill, we talked about him, who could come right in and be efficient if the Lions were in a situation like that. We're not wishing anything bad on them.
Sure.
It's a war of attrition.
Right.
Things can happen, and you need to be prepared. And if I'm the Lions coaching staff, I'm not hanging my hat on the two backups that they have right now.
How did you feel about special teams? They looked a little shaky over the last 2 weeks. What is your opinion on that?
You can't fumble the ball
Okay.
in the other team's red zone. And I think one, Kansas City scored a touchdown off of. And the other, I don't think they scored at all. But you fumbled the ball twice. One was for a score, and I think may have fumbled 3 times. And one was recovered by the Lions. I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but you can't turn the ball over, especially when you're trying to make the team. That's a difficult thing. These young guys out here playing, they're trying to prove themselves. They're trying to make plays. They need to do something now. I get it, but you got to hold on to the football. The one thing you cannot do is fumble the football. I've been around coaches where fumbling the football has cost guys careers, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I've been around coaches where guys didn't see the football field again because of fumbling the football. So it's really that important. It's really that serious. And I'm sure Dan Campbell was going to send a message this week about that ball being on the ground like that. And special teams wise, again, those fumbles are huge. And then you had the one extra point that was missed that could have ultimately cost the Lions the game too. Something to watch.
You are watching My Michigan TV, and of course, this is The Roar, the Lions post-game show. We'll be here all season long for you. That's right. Every week of this season, we'll be here for you. Home and away games, the whole schmeal, so to speak. So, we want to ask you a question. Who is your top 5 Lions of all time? We have our 5, and they may differ a little bit. But if you look at if you came in on the Zoom, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you to see who is your top 5 Lions of all time. I'll pose this question to the big antagonist, my good buddy here, Corey. Who are your top 5 Lions? I know it's going to be hard for you to pick 5 Lions, but who would be your top 5 Lions of all time?
That I've seen, right?
That you've seen.
That we've
You
seen.
You have to have seen them play. You just can't say Bobby Lane because you've never seen him play.
Right. Well, you got to obviously start with Barry.
Okay.
You got to start there. We talked in the production meeting. We talked a little bit. I said Billy Sims.
Okay.
We said we both agreed on that. I also mentioned Megatron.
Okay.
These are guys that I've seen. This one is going to hurt a little bit to say, but it's Stafford.
Can you believe he said that?
No, I don't believe that.
If you listen to our podcast, the Cohen Bro Opinion Show, you know that he's not a big Stafford fan. So this is. Does that mean your Detroit Lions? It's a slim pickings because of just how what turmoil they've been through over the past 50 some years.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, Gravedigger mentioned. I love Lomas Brown. Lomas Brown was a very good football player.
Yep.
So I would have to probably throw him up there. But this is an organization that's gone 0-16.
That's true.
So it's kind of hard to. But those guys that I mentioned, those are like staples. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, just staple, just really good football players. So yeah, Barry, Billy, Megatron, Matthew, and I would say Lomas.
Lomas Brown.
Yeah, that I've seen in my time.
Tony, who do you got?
Mine is the same.
The same
as
exact
Coach's.
ones?
Well, probably a different order.
Okay.
Oh yeah, mine wasn't in order, but I was
Well,
just throwing, yeah.
if
But go ahead.
I'm going to put it in an order,
Yeah.
and this is just for the guys that I saw again, and this is impactful for me because as a kid, I was a big-time Lions fan. I'm not going to say that's what's going on today, but I can tell you that when I was growing up, Billy Sims was the biggest thing in the world for me. Number 20, Oklahoma Sooners.
Yep.
Man, it was a huge deal when he came to the Lions. They actually, I think, they lost in a playoff game to San Francisco 49ers.
Yep.
Almost beat the San Francisco. San Francisco ended up winning a Super Bowl that year. Man, I was crushed. I was a kid. And I was crushed. They played. I think they played the Silverdome.
Yeah.
Kicked the field goal.
Is that what made you?
No. That's not what turned me away from being a fan. Not that particular situation. But the next guy was the reason. So Billy Sims is number one for me, even though he's not better than Barry.
Right.
Impactfully, Billy Sims is number one Lions player for me of all time.
Okay.
Just because of what he meant for me as a kid. Barry Sanders is number two for me. After Barry, of course, I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford.
Wow.
Only because without him, there wouldn't be no Megatron.
Okay.
So then I go with Megatron, and then I go with Lomas at number 5.
Lomas at number 5.
Yeah, but Barry is probably the reason why I'm no longer a fan the way I used to be a fan for the Lions.
Can you explain that?
Yeah. When Barry left, that was huge for me, and the reasoning for it was even bigger because I felt like the organization didn't support and back him, and they had a window. The window we're talking about, the Lions right now, they had a window where they were getting ready to make a serious move to compete for a Super Bowl. Yeah. They had won a playoff game in blowing out the the Dallas Cowboys, and they ended up losing the NFC conference championship to Washington that year. The next year, they got rid of Glover, Lomas, all these guys. The offensive line gets traded away, and they didn't support Barry. And Barry felt like that was, they were not serious about winning. And because the organization wasn't serious about winning, I was just like, man, they're not. This is not for real.
Gotcha.
And I said that was enough for me.
Kind of moved away. Okay.
I moved away from the Lions at that particular point because I just didn't feel like they were serious about trying to win Super Bowls.
Well, we have some people here on the chat, on our Facebook chat. Jackie Smith Davis says Barry, Billy, Calvin, and Lem. That would have to be Lem Barney.
Yeah, okay. I didn't see Lem play.
I didn't see him play. Okay.
Okay.
That's good.
Well, we want to hear from you. If you would like to look at it, find us here on the Facebook page or right here on the Roar Live, on your Zoom. Join us on the Zoom. We want to hear from you. This show is about you, Lion fans. It's different. This is a different show than what you might hear on the radio or see other places. We want the fans in on this show each and every week. For my 5 guys, I'm going to go Billy Sims.
Okay.
Of course, he was kind of Mr. Electric in the 80s here, the way he would run. Yeah. Barry Sanders for me, I'm going to go a little different route. Of course, I'm going to go Stafford because Stafford's my guy at 3. Yeah. I'm going to say Jason Hanson because he was a pretty solid figure piece for 20-some years here in Detroit. Huge. And I'm going to go for 5. I'm going to say Benny Blades.
Ah, okay.
Really? Okay.
All right. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he was a staple.
They were good during those years.
Yeah.
They were good. I like Benny.
Yeah, Benny hit you in the mouth.
He was very physical. Yeah. Good football player at safety.
Yep.
University of Miami.
That's not a bad 5. Not at all. All good 5s.
Oh, no question.
All good 5. All great players. All great players. Yeah, Hanson definitely, for sure.
Yeah, he's Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame kicker.
You could almost, as an honorable mention, I would even put in Eddie Murray, kicker.
No question. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, they've had great kickers.
They've had great kickers.
Do they have another?
Is the kicker? Is he going to be great, Scott?
Yeah.
Jake Bates. I think so. I'm on the Jake Bates bandwagon. 4 for 4 today. You can't. Hey, that's a good.
He's not
thing.
4 for 4. Scott.
No, he missed one.
He missed one.
No, I've seen it right here.
He missed a chippy. We watched it.
No, that was extra point.
Extra point. Yeah.
4 for 4.
Oh, okay.
55 is the longest. 12 points today.
All right.
Okay.
12 points.
All right.
I like Mr. Chippy.
I'm on the Jake Bates bandwagon.
Okay.
For sure.
He's going to have to be good for them.
Yes.
Any other takeaways that you have from today's game, guys?
I was going to ask Blank a question in regards to, the gelling. So the gelling, the coaches and the players are gelling. These guys are looking better.
Yes.
So we got one more preseason game.
Yes.
Now do we see Goff? Now do we see Amon-Ra? Or are these guys just not going to play? Are they going to just sit there? Some coaches sit their starters out for the whole preseason.
Yes.
A lot of them do that.
Yep.
Will Campbell do that, you think? Because now they're looking for, like you said, looking for backups, people that can come in and replace. Injuries are going to happen. Is it time for the starters to get some reps? It's the 3rd game. Or are they just going to what do you think about that?
Seeing how Campbell's handled things since he's been here, it would not surprise me at all if they didn't play at all.
Oh.
the one thing is what you guys mentioned as far as the injury possibilities and not necessarily having the depth that you would like to have. Okay. The other thing is they aren't new to any of this. Yeah. This is their third year now. And I say that because the year before last, they were knocking on the door. If we remember, they beat Green Bay the last game of the season. Yes. And came into last season rumbling. Yes. Okay. They had momentum. This is not a rookie group. This is not a group of guys that, they need to know what to do and how to do it. They know what to do and how to do it. Now, when it talks about gelling, that's a great point that you make, Corey. Every football team is different every year. Okay. And I don't care who you are, what you do as a head football coach. Every team has a different personality. This team will be nothing like last year's team. Even though fans would like to think everything is going to happen just as well as it did last season, that's not necessarily the case because every team has its own personality. Right. This team has its own personality. They're developing that personality as we speak. Okay. They're learning each other and learning that gel process right now. It's up to Coach Campbell and that staff to get those guys together, to continue to buy in. And it's different because you got a lot of new guys still. Yeah. You got guys who were traded. You got guys who are free agents. You got rookies who were signed. So you're going to have to be able to get those guys to continue to buy in. The one thing Coach Campbell does have going for him, he has built a culture. He has a foundation. The foundation is in place. Now they have to continue to build from that foundation. So they're in a good place as an organization. That's why you see them being favored to win the NFC and to possibly make it to the Super Bowl and to possibly win the Super Bowl. That's in place because of the foundation they've been able to create and the excitement that they have in that building. And, of course, they are working very hard to get there. So I kind of feel like they're not playing a lot of those guys because they don't have to. The other thing, though, that's kind of surprising, though, is I'm watching everybody else play their players. Right. You got the best player, arguably best quarterback in the history of the game. Arguably, yep. Played 2 series today. Yeah. So, in the comment I made to you guys earlier, if the head coach is coaching and the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator are calling plays, then your players should be playing. Okay. Why are you coaching if they're not playing? Right. Let your assistant coaches run the program. You got your younger guys out there playing, but that's not going to happen because everybody needs the reps. So it's kind of contradicting. Yeah. Right. It's like, hey, look, we all need the reps. We all need to practice. We all need to call these plays. We all need to be on the same page. Right. But you don't even have the guys out there who's going to do it. Right. Who's going to be making the plays? Who's going to be making the calls? Who's going to be making these checks and making the adjustments? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next week. Normally, NFL teams play their starters this week. And next week, they sit out. Yeah. The last exhibition game, they don't take a chance of allowing those guys to play next week. That's why I can't see the Lions letting anybody play next week.
Right. Wow. You are watching The Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV. We're so glad you came along with us today. Jimmy Early wanted to give his 5. Jimmy Jam. Barry Sanders, Billy Sims, Matthew Stafford, Megatron, and he said Eddie Murray, guys.
See?
That's a good.
So we're all in the same kind of
on the right track.
Yeah, he's a staple, though. He's a major staple.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. If you had to pick a guy that is going to make the most impact, that's not a starter, so to speak, like a Brown or a Gibbs or a Montgomery, who do you think will make the biggest difference? For me, I think it could be Isaiah Williams this year. Yeah. What do you think?
Isaiah could. Again, he's a young guy. He's a rookie. And he's undrafted. He's going to have to continue to battle and continue to get better. He's not playing against a lot of starters, but he still looked like he belonged. And that's the thing that's impressive to me. He looked like he should be playing NFL football on Sundays.
Do you think he might have the edge over Donovan Peoples-Jones?
Fortunately, yes.
Okay.
And I'm a Donovan Peoples-Jones fan. I'm a Michigan guy, go blue. Yeah. And I just think that Donovan hasn't had an opportunity to even show a lot of that. But look, how many times was Williams targeted today? My goodness. Yeah. He got a chance to make a lot of plays. Yeah. I don't think Donovan's had an opportunity to make a lot of those plays yet. Right. At the same time, they still got one game left, preseason-wise, and they got they got another 2 weeks of practice in preparation for the regular season. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. Go ahead, Corey.
No, I'm going to say Arnold, the corner. So you need in this league, you need a pass rusher. You need a left tackle. You need a quarterback. You need a corner. Those positions are key to me. That's just what I think. He's come in highly touted. He's going to have some really big. I'm assuming he's going to take the main guy on the opposing team. I want to see what he does. He comes in with his confidence. The kid is a good corner. That's going to be key. You got to hold some of those other receivers down. You got to kind of make quarterbacks want to say, hey, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at him. I'm going to watch him, this year to see, because that helps. That secondary, it has to get better. I think what were they, 27?
Yes.
You got to get better. So I'm looking at the corners, specifically Arnold. He was a high draft pick. He looks like he's excited to be here. He's already adapted to culture. So we'll see. That's my focus on him. Goff is going to do golf stuff. Hutch is going to do Hutch stuff. The offensive line is going to do offensive line stuff. We'll see, with the corners, that's going to make a difference.
I was kind of shocked they didn't see Davenport out there, and that's kind of like the big guy that they got to go alongside Hutchinson. Do you feel like with them not playing the starters that could affect them week one? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know there's still another game to go, but you were saying you might not see him because you don't want to risk injury.
Yeah.
So do you think that with the starters not playing in preseason that can affect their style of play in week one?
I'll tell you. I'll give you 2 points. One, I don't think they think so.
Okay.
I believe, like I mentioned earlier, they feel like they have a veteran group.
Okay.
And they know how to prepare.
Okay.
Me personally, I believe it does have an impact. I think that guys have to play so that you're sharp. You have to, I think it's important that you're playing. We're going to see. We're going to find out. That's for sure. The one thing I can say that I think they've been smart about, they are letting Arnold and they're letting their young guys in the secondary play when it comes to possibility of being starters. Those guys have gotten a lot of reps, which is good, and because they need to pick up the speed of the game. They need to be prepared to play NFL football at this level. It's going to be interesting to see, though, how well they play that first game against the Rams. That's going to be interesting because, guys just have not had a lot of reps. They got a lot of practice reps. They do a lot of scrimmaging against other NFL teams, inter-squad scrimmaging. That hopefully will get them what they need to be. To Corey's point, and to talk about guys, and your point, Scott, talking about guys who should be impactful, we cannot forget the importance of the interior line on both sides of the ball. We spend a lot of time talking about skilled guys, talking about receivers, talking about quarterbacks, talking about running backs. Look, guys, I'm telling you, as sure as we sitting here now, the Lions' success will be based on their offensive line and their defensive line, or lack thereof. If those groups are successful, like they were a year ago, especially the offensive line, because their offense was their best defense last year. People don't realize that.
It was.
Their offense was their best defense because they were able to keep the football out of the hands of the opponent most of the time because they were able to run the football and run a lot of time out, play the game close to the vest, not make a lot of mistakes. If those two groups are successful, if you have solid offensive line play continuously like they did last year, they got a great group, when that defensive line plays at a high level, moves up from the 27th, then they'll be able to compete for a Super Bowl.
Do you feel other teams in the NFC are going to rise to the occasion? Are there any teams that stick out right now that could give even San Francisco a run for their money?
Look, Gilbert made a great point.
He made a great point.
Green Bay will be a problem. The fact that he gave us the nugget as far as those guys all showing up for minicamp, which is non-committal. You don't have to be there, and everybody's there. They are hungry.
Talk about culture.
And it's talking about culture. Exactly, Corey. And the thing that we have to understand as football fans, the Lions are no longer the hunted I'm sorry. They're no longer the ones who are hunting. They're the hunted. Yeah. Everybody wants to beat the Lions now. So it's no longer you sitting around and, they can sneak up on people. They're not going to sneak up on anybody. Green Bay are the new Lions from last year. Chicago are the new Lions from 2 years ago. Yep. This is what we're seeing in this conference. And if JJ doesn't get hurt in Minnesota, you're talking about a whirlwind in the conference alone.
Right.
So the North is going to be the Lions' biggest obstacle, in my opinion. They're going to have to play some really good teams on the schedule the rest of the year. They got to go to Houston. That's probably in some people's eyes.
That schedule's tough.
That's a tough schedule. They got to go to Dallas. They got to play some tough football teams. Got to play the Rams. But at the end of the day, that conference is going to be huge for them. So, in my opinion, to your question, Scott, the whole North. The whole North.
Anybody out of the East?
Well, the Jets.
In the AFC.
In the AFC. Oh, well, in the NFC, no. I take that back. Philadelphia should be a good football team.
Okay.
Depending upon their coordinators can come and do a good job.
Okay.
Washington will be a surprise football team. They got a good young quarterback. They got a good group, a good football staff there set in place for them to be good this year. And I'm not going to mention about the other team.
Yeah, we could go on for another hour.
They don't even have a receiver that we can name.
Uh-oh.
Dallas does not have a receiver that we can name. That can we do? They have. I mean, their best receivers is not even in camp.
He's coming.
And the quarterback hasn't even been signed.
He'll be fine.
So,
he'll be fine.
The East, I'm going with Philly.
Okay.
There's a shot.
And I'm going with Washington, Dallas, and then New York probably.
So let me ask you something. Sleeper team for me out of the NFC, I think would be the Falcons.
Oh, okay.
What do you think, Gil?
The sleeper team for me is going to be the Bears.
Really? You still think that?
Yeah.
And I know your viewpoint's changed a little bit watching Caleb in the preseason. You said you see flashes of a Mahomes in there?
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a big compliment.
I'm going to let Corey speak on that, then I'm going to give you my point, too.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
Hey, man, you asked me a sleeper. I'm going to go with the Bears. I don't think the Lions win the North. Let me get that out there. I think Green Bay does. I'm with Gilbert on that. I think Green Bay is ready to rock and roll. Caleb Williams, he looks different. He does. He has weapons. He has weapons all around him. The guy played today. The Bears played the Bengals today. It was something to see the time that he played. You guys, listen, don't just, we're going to win the North because we won the North last year. That ain't going to happen. And we're going to just go in and beat Chicago twice because he's a rookie. That ain't going to happen. I don't see that happening. This kid is special. And I don't care about the time, 2 weeks, 2 preseason. I don't care about that. The guy has it. You can't coach it. He has it. This kid is special. He's got a special group of receivers. His O-line is top 5. The defense is tremendous. It's up to Eberflus. That's my surprise team.
You are watching The Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV. Thank you guys for coming along. If you have any questions or comments, check the QR code right there on your TV screen. That'll get you in to give us your take on the Detroit Lions season. I am, for one, believe the Detroit Lions will win the North. I'm not saying they're going to run away with it. I think it'll be a close race, but I think they'll win the North. Fan perspective, I know everybody's on the Lion bandwagon, so to speak, and you kind of have, your rabid Lion fans.
Yep.
But when you think realistically, you have to really be realistic to know that Green Bay has gotten better. Yep. Chicago has gotten better. And like you said, if J.J. McCarthy hadn't gotten hurt, you could say the Vikings could be up in there in that talk.
Well, let me get in on that. The J.J. thing, I think he was going to be special because he was going to get better as you go, and then he's like from Michigan, so that's going to be the story. He's going to come in and he's going to come in and make the Lions look bad. But let's not just put Minnesota at Lions is going to beat them twice. This is the one player that I'm watching, Darnold. He has everything over there. He's not a rookie.
No, that's true.
You know, when he was a rookie, he came in and beat the Lions, different team.
Carolina.
Yeah, he came in and beat them. So you got the best receiver we just talked about in the
Yes,
NFL
Justin
with another
Jefferson.
kid.
Yes.
Let's just not write. This division is tough.
That's a good
Let's
point.
not just
That's
write
a great
Minnesota
point.
off.
That's a great point. It's
We're
still-
talking about Bears and the Packers. And Lion fans, you're just giving the Lions the Super Bowl. This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Talk to me. The Lions are a good team. What they've done to me has elevated themselves in always playoff contention. Not yet Super Bowl contention. You had your window last year and you missed it. You didn't go in the window. I think the Super Bowl window is closed for them, and you're going to have to restart it and do all over.
Oof.
That's just me.
Yeah.
And then I don't really think you belong in the Super Bowl. I can explain that. This sounds crazy, but I don't think the Lions belong in the Super Bowl. That franchise, that university, they've never been about like you said, we talk money and spending. They've never been there. You know what I mean?
That's true.
They've never been there. It's like I don't know, like they want to go, but I don't think they belong. You know who does belong? Denver, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Dallas, Chiefs, Patriots.
This guy said
Those are teams that belong in the Super Bowl.
serious, bro.
Just look at the history, Blank. Those teams have players, great quarterbacks, and great coaches. I say this all the time. Lions have that. You're like new money. You're like Molly Brown on the Titanic. You're new money. You're 12-5. You're like, you want to go, like Denise Huxtable. She wanted to go to Hillman, but she dropped out. She didn't belong. She went and got married in Africa. You're not there yet to me.
Yeah.
Yes, they're doing good things. Now they're playoff contenders all the time to me. They are. I'm going to give you that. But that North is fire.
Yeah.
They're going to have to play some real good, solid football to maintain what they've accomplished.
Great point. Great point.
That's just
you know what? It's still the NFL, and Corey made some great points. At the end of the day, you got a lot of professional football players out there. And Minnesota got a lot of professional football players as well. We should not be taking that lightly.
Yeah.
And that's not something we brought up, but it needs to be lifted. It needs to be discussed. And Sam Darnold is a good football player. So we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be interesting to see. That's a great point that Corey makes as well, as far as have the Lions hit the ceiling? Is this it?
Right.
Is this as far as they go? Have they peaked? And you hope not if you're a Lions fan, because you can sometimes peak too soon, and that'll be it. You might just be a playoff organization
Sometimes
from now
you peak
on.
too soon. Yeah.
It's hilarious to me you brought up Dallas Cowboys. They haven't been in the playoffs in 27 years, but they haven't won a Super Bowl in 27 years. I'm sorry, they haven't played in a Super Bowl in 27 years.
But who has? But the Chiefs and Patriots.
No, well, no. Look, I believe the Carolina Panthers have been in there.
Yeah, they snuck in.
Yeah, in 2006.
Yeah.
Expansion team.
Yeah.
I believe they did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all the other teams, I agree.
Hey, Blank, I'm with you. I just know my reality. Like I said, I know my reality. So, I mean, I don't think the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl.
No.
But I'm not like Lions fans who are just putting them in there.
Yeah, no, you got to earn it.
You got to earn it.
You got to earn it.
I used to tell my ex-girlfriend, you're the most prettiest girl. You're right under Halle Berry. You're the most prettiest girl ever. You're the best girl. And you know what she say? She say, you're going to say that. You see me through rose-colored glasses. Rose-colored glasses is positivity, optimism, being optimistic, but it comes down to no basis of reality.
Okay. Not true. Not real, huh?
Not real.
Wow. Well, Lions fans got to...
We'll see.
Lions fans,
Hey.
This show is for you. That's why we want you to call in, right? And get us on the Zoom. You are watching the Roar Live. We will be here all season long. Both the home and away games right here on My Michigan TV. We have a lot in store for you. Some great guests coming up, lined up. Former NFL players, former Michigan Wolverines going to be joining us throughout the season. A lot in store for you. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you, whether it's in the chat. You could reach us at the Roar Live Show at gmail.com. If you have questions, if you want to hear certain topics, you want us to discuss certain topics, we want to hear from you because this is a fan interactive show. And we had Joey from Eastvale, California, join us. And, of course, our special guest this week, Gilbert Brown, who incited a lot of Lion fans. I could see it here on the chat. Gilbert is crazy. I see that right here. Gilbert is definitely a Packer slappy. Well, I don't know if he'd be. Well, of course, he played for the Packers. And he was a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah,
Super Bowl champion.
Right. Yeah, Super Bowl champion. I think that was 96.
96, you got it.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed this Roar Live show right here on My Michigan TV. I'm Scotty William, Corey Tiez, and the Michigan Hall of Fame head coach, Tony Blankenship. We'll be back next week after the Lions' first preseason home game. So much to talk about all season long right here on the Roar Live. See you next time.